Hello, my name is Madeline, and welcome to this yin yoga practice for transformation and life transitions. So, this class is going to be inspired by the transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly. So, we'll be starting with some more inward facing poses and then gradually moving into some heart openers just to reflect that openness to change and changing in your life transitions. So, to begin, we'll just get started with a little bit of breath to ground us. So, we'll take 3 deep breaths. Exhale all the air out now. And take a deep inhale through the nose. Sigh out the mouth. Inhaling through the nose. Sigh out the mouth. One more big breath here. Taking an inhale through the nose. And long breath out the mouth. And before we get into our yin poses, we'll just do a little bit of movement, doing some seated cat-cows. So you can place both your hands on your knees. And then as you inhale, begin to arch your spine, looking up towards the sky. And then rounding as you exhale. And you can continue like this or take any kind of fluid movement that feels good. So maybe taking some circles in one direction and then the other direction. And for this class, you don't need any props, but if you like to practice with them, you can grab a couple of blocks. And once you're finished with your movement, return back to center, and we're going to make our way into a child's pose. So you can come onto your knees, and then slowly start to sink downward, bringing the chest to the ground. And this time we're going to do a child's pose with the arms reaching back. So try to keep those knees together and let the forehead rest on the mat with the arms facing behind you. And we'll stay here for a couple minutes. Of course, if you would prefer a wide leg child's pose, you can definitely go for that as well. And in this pose, just notice where you're starting class today. Notice how the body is feeling, how the mind is feeling, and just observe. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And take one more breath. And then slowly start to bring those hands forward, pressing back up onto your heels, pausing in this seated position for a couple of breaths. And then, whenever you're ready, start to walk those hands forward and come into a tabletop position. And from here, you can take any movement that you like. So maybe going for a couple of cat-cows, or again, maybe going for some circles, just taking any kind of movement that feels intuitive to you. And return back to center whenever you're ready. We're going to come back down onto our seat and then swing those legs out in front of us. And we're going to move into a caterpillar pose now. So in this caterpillar pose, you can bend your knees as much or as little as you like. It's totally up to you. And whenever you're ready, begin to reach those arms up to the sky and start to fold forward over those legs. And if you have a block, option to place a block in between the legs for the forehead to rest on. If you don't have a block, no worries at all. And just really melt into this pose. Maybe think about something you'd like to change or transform in your life. deeply here. And slowly begin to crawl back up those legs, really taking your time, removing any blocks if you were using them. And gently start to lean back onto those hands, maybe taking a couple of windshield wipers here, rocking from side to side. And really breathing into any areas of tightness or tension. And returning back to center whenever you're ready. So we're going to prepare to make our way into a snail pose, or in vinyasa known as a plow pose. So if you have a sensitive neck or a sensitive spine, I would advise maybe against doing this pose, and instead you can come to a standing forward fold. But if you're going to come into the snail pose with me, you can start to come back down onto your back. With the feet on the mat and the hands right out by your side. And then you can gently start to press back up on those hands and pressing up on your spine and rolling those legs back behind you so the feet are touching the ground behind you. And again, if this really doesn't feel good, come into that standing forward fold. So here we're in this cocoon-like shape, preparing for some more openness. And really try to focus on the breath here. This can be an intense one. And we'll take a couple more breaths here. And whenever you're ready, be really gentle coming out of the pose. You can place those hands on your lower back and then just try to roll down vertebrae by vertebrae, keeping the knees in. Just getting out of the pose any way that isn't going to cause you discomfort. And once we're out of that snail pose, come to lie on your backs just to feel the effects of that pose, to feel some opening after that really inward facing snail. Maybe you want to press those feet back into the mat, rocking a couple times side to side to release that low back. And whenever you're ready, we're going to roll back up into a seated pose and come forward onto our bellies. No rush at all getting here. And we'll now prepare to go into a broken wing pose. So reach the right arm out to the side in a T shape and tent those left fingertips right up towards your face. And we'll start to roll onto that right hip. If this is enough for you, that's great. You can just stay there. And if you want to go a little further, bringing that left foot to touch the ground beneath that right leg. So really deep opening for that shoulder area. Kind of starting to spread our wings a little bit from that cocoon shape. And opening a little more in the chest. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And take one last deep breath. And whenever you're ready, if you have that foot behind you, starting to release the leg, bringing it back to meet the left leg, and then roll back onto our bellies. This time, placing both hands underneath your forehead as a pillow. And let's pause here for a couple moments before we move into the other side. Again, noticing how the body is feeling. And no rush at all. Whenever you're ready, we'll start to make our way into that other side. So begin to reach that left arm out into a T shape beside you and tent those right fingertips up in line with your face. Keeping that left ear on the mat, and then start to roll onto that left hip. If you want to stay here, that's great. If you want to go a little further, you can begin to draw that right foot back behind the left leg. And breathe deeply. The deeper you breathe, the more you'll feel the effects of the pose. take a few more breaths here. And take one final breath. Really take your time here. Release that right leg back out to meet the left and roll back over onto the belly. Again, place those hands on top of each other to act as a pillow for the forehead. Maybe you want to wiggle the hips out a little bit. And then just pause for a couple of moments, hopefully feeling some more openness in the chest. And slowly start to remove those hands out from under your forehead and press back up onto the hands. Maybe taking a little movement here, a couple cat cows if you like. And whenever you're finished with your movement, we'll come back to that seated position, swinging the legs out in front of us to prepare for half butterfly now. So take the right sole or the sole of the right foot and place it against the left leg. Option again, if you have blocks, you can use them here. And whenever you're ready, start to fold forward over that left leg. And really try to let the back round and soften here. Allowing yourself to surrender to whatever change or transformation is happening in your life. And take one more breath in this half butterfly. And slowly start to crawl those fingertips back up, spine upright. And we'll do a little twist. So bring the left hand to that right knee. Crawl those right fingertips behind you. And just take a couple deep breaths here, looking over that right shoulder. And slowly drawing that chest back to center, letting go of that right leg. Maybe shake those legs out a little bit. Whenever you're ready, we'll move into that half butterfly on the other side. So this time, take the sole of the left foot and press it against that right thigh. Option again to use blocks for your forehead if you would like. And then start to fold forward over that right leg. No need to go super deep here. Trying to find a place where you can be still. And again, let that head drop. Let that spine soften and melt into the pose. And we'll take a few more breaths here. Slowly start to crawl those fingertips back up. And we'll do a twist on this side as well. Bring the right hand to the left knee. Crawl those left fingertips behind you. And take a couple deep breaths into this twist, trying to look back over your left shoulder. And slowly returning back to center, releasing that left leg out in front of you. And come down onto your backs. So maybe hugging those knees into the chest and rocking a couple times side to side. And then pausing back at center. And let's make our way into our peak pose, which will be a reclining butterfly. So you can bring those legs back out in front of you. Bring the soles of the feet together so they're in that diamond-like butterfly shape. If you have blocks, you can always place them underneath your knees, but no need. And let those arms come out beside you, maybe spreading them wide outside the mat. And just feeling the opening here, feeling open to receive, open to the changes in life, the transitions, and really surrender here. Let's take one more deep breath here, in through the nose, and out the mouth. And bring those hands to the thighs or the outside of the knees, and slowly begin to draw the knees back together, bringing them into the chest. And again, maybe rocking a little bit side to side. And from here, feel free to take any kind of movement or poses your body is needing before we move into Shavasana, final resting pose. So maybe your body is craving a twist, or maybe another happy baby, or you're just ready to get into that Shavasana, in which case we'll all come to meet lying on our backs, melting into the earth, and feeling the effects of this practice. And feel free to stay resting in Shavasana. We'll close class on our backs with one final breath. So exhale all the air out now. Take a deep inhale through the nose and a long sigh out the mouth. So feel free to stay resting and lingering in Shavasana here if you have the time. I hope your body is feeling a bit more open, and I also hope you're feeling more open to any changes or transformation happening in your life. So thanks so much for practicing with me. If you'd like to see more yin videos like this, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again next time.